fundamentally based on a falsehood that really is the main form of racial discrimination we see in this country today.
Because the procedures used to lift the barriers created by the discrimination that definitely still exists today are the actual racism. Vivek Ramaswamy has gained his notoriety largely by dog whistling to racists and playing to conspiracy theories, while now he has gained the endorsement of Steve King, someone known for adamantly defending white supremacy. So of course, after announcing this, Vivek would get asked if he would condemn white supremacy, and in his response, he does his best lip service to whitewash racism, as he always does, that clearly still exists in this country, while also pointing his finger to people of color as the true racists. And I wanted to take a look at what he had to say and then completely shut down his argument.
But I think that the presumption of your question is fundamentally based on a falsehood that really is the main form of racial discrimination we see in this country today. Institutionalized racism is institutionalized racial discrimination that we see that doesn't come from somehow discriminating against people on the basis of some tenet of white supremacy. It's based on affirmative action.
So according to Vivek, racism isn't real. The effects of it don't still linger around today, except for affirmative action, that is, because the procedures used to lift the barriers created by the discrimination that definitely still exists today are the actual racism. Aha, Uno reverse card for you there. However, I've compiled some statistics here that I think will be interesting to look at given Vivek's claim, like how black people are still over twice more likely to be fatally shot by police than white people, 5 times more likely to be paroled or reincarcerated for the same minor offenses committed by white people. Despite white and black people using weed at the same rate, black people are still 4 times more likely to be arrested for weed possession. They are twice as unlikely to have access to health care. This was exacerbated during the pandemic, specifically due to redlining. Black families are the lowest percent of home ownership. Home ownership, of course, being the greatest way to pass down generational wealth. And this is due to not only redlining, but black people get denied for loans over twice as often as white people. Also, mostly due to these redlining, placing black families at a disadvantage for access to quality education or transportation to get to said quality education. You can see the disparity in college degrees, disparity in upwards educational mobility, which is the likelihood that you'll go to a better college than your parents did. And this argument is all built without getting into the wage gap, because we'd be here all day if I did. Actually, you know what? Let's look at that too. There's also a huge disparity in that, like among representation among CEOs, you can see the disparities. Disparities among representation in high-paying jobs. There's a huge salary gap that has persisted since the beginning of time, and one that is exacerbated in women also. And you can see that extends into overall household income. These are problems that were created by slavery, years of Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, and other discriminatory laws, many of which didn't go away until the 80s, that specifically, strategically, systemically placed black people at a disadvantage and gave them a higher hill to climb up than white people. It's like playing Monopoly, and for 100 years, every time I go around go and get money, I got to give 3/4 of it to you because you're white and I'm black. So for Vivek to not only be able to condemn this or even acknowledge it's real, let's start there. For Vivek to not even be able to acknowledge this is real, but then to also be unable to condemn white supremacy at the same time that he wants to whitewash racism to the point that he's saying affirmative action is the actual racism. This is just disgusting behavior, and it reflects in his polling numbers being absolute dog shit. And it's not hard to just say, hey, I condemn white supremacy. You don't have to like beat around the bush so all the races that you dog whistle to get upset. But when that is the largest part of your voting base, and when you clearly have this agenda, I guess it gets a lot harder for you to stand on actual morals. Affirmative action, diversity hires, simply is just diversifying your pick from the qualified candidates, and anyone trying to tell you different is racist. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video, because the only way we become a society is together.